Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, with daily insight on the Nasdaq-100 index, or the NDX, which is made up of 100 of the largest domestic and international non-financial innovative companies listed on Nasdaq. The NDX has been the barometer for U.S. large cap growth and also one of the best performing indexes over the last decade and a half, not to mention one of the most liquid index ecosystems in the world. Joining me this Tuesday afternoon, we have Shawn, Cruz, manager of trader services at TD Ameritrade, to discuss Nasdaq-100 performance trends in the Nasdaq Volatility Index, or what we call VOLQ. We'll also take a look at some economic index data as well. Shawn, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks. And let's take a look at your first couple of charts here with some fresh levels to watch on the Nasdaq-100.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. I almost had to, when I was looking at these levels, make sure I had the right look back period on the chart, because it's just made such a strong, pronounced upside move in such a little time. But it's really been interesting to see us make some of the very similar price action where there's some gaps higher. There's a little bit of some consolidation with another sort of price level to monitor in there. And then we make another gap higher. We've sort of just been stair-stepping our way here so far as we get up to these new highs. So now that we're up and we're sort of looking like we're in a similar range to where we were at last week, we were briefly able to break above that 15,700 level slightly, and since pulled back a little bit. Just looking at where the screens are at right now, we're down just about 10 points below some of those highs that we'd seen today. But I'm watching that 15,650 level because it does look like there's a little bit of sideways action there on the chart, but it's also a very key volume level for the Nasdaq-100 futures contract. So it will be an interesting level to see if we get some sort of stabilization, if we do pull back there, or if we make a little bit more of some sideways choppy action before we get another breakout to the upside, which has sort of been what we have seen over the past couple of weeks.
And Shawn, let's take a look at what you're seeing in the Nasdaq Volatility Index, or what we call VOLQ. We are now in September, which is historically a volatile month, but it seems to be pretty muted, considering the headlines that we're contending with.
Yeah, and it's been interesting, although there have been sometimes where you see the monthly expirations roll off, and then you get a pop higher, and it slowly drifts. You get a pop higher, and it continues to move higher. Past couple of expirations, you've actually seen a pop higher in the following session after those options expire in a slow trail lower. It's going to be interesting to see if we get that again, where you just get that time that's left in those contracts. There's a little bit more uncertainty, but as we move more and more through the month, you start to see some of that uncertainty taper out a little bit. But it is going to be interesting to watch what VOLQ does here, if it does trace back lower to that 15 handle, or if we get a little bit of a move sideways, or maybe we go up and challenge that 1650 threshold, which I think is going to be interesting to watch. But no matter what, when you're looking at this is just telling you not to expect these massive intraday ranges or swings out of the Nasdaq-100 that maybe we got used to last year. This to me still points to not much concern about a large outside move in either direction, which is good at these levels, because like we talked about, you see this consolidation sideways throughout the week, and then we are able to make another leg higher the following week. This sort of price action out of VOLQ leads me to believe that maybe we are going to see very similar price action out of the Nasdaq-100 here over the next couple of days.
And Shawn, tell us about the Economic Surprise Index. What are you looking for there?
The Economic Surprise Index, it's been something where there's been a lot of discussion from the Fed in terms of where the incoming economic data is. Are things really starting to soften up? And when you take a look at the general expectations of a lot of these economists that are out there, it does look like maybe the Delta variant is starting to have an impact on the economy versus what was expected. We went from being more or less in positive territory for a lot of those economic indicators that were coming out. Were surprising, coming in better than what was expected. That is decidedly flipped since the end of July, and has continued to move lower throughout August and going into September. So I think that's going to be one thing that the market is sort of kept in mind when they're trying to get ideas how hawkish or dovish we can expect the Fed to be. Doesn't look like they're really expecting a Fed that can be overly hawkish when they've said the Delta variant is creating a lot of uncertainty and that will impact their policy decisions.
All right. Appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.